this video, what we're going to cover is two stretches. If you've had a history of lower back pain or it's been a recent onset you're struggling with, what we find is that these two stretches, when complemented with chiropractic care, is going to make sure that you get the quickest results. The two stretches that we're going to focus on is muscles known as the hamstring muscle group and another muscle group known as the piriformis muscles. The reason why these are so critical to make sure that you increase the mobility is because what we find is that over time these get chronically stiff, especially if you're in a job that involves you sitting down for long periods of time at a desk, or a lot of people are driving for long periods of time with their work. Over time these muscles get extremely tight, and if they're not loosened up, what it does is really compromises the recovery. The first one we're going to cover is what's known as the hamstring muscle group. Before I go through and show you the stretch, what I want to do is cover a little bit of the anatomy to make sure you have that understanding and awareness of why it's so important. The hamstring muscle group, what it does is it actually attaches to the bottom of what's known as the ischium or the sit bone. There's three muscles that make up the hamstring muscle group. They travel down the leg and attach into the top of just below the knee joint. Now, the reason why they get so tight is when you spend a lot of time sitting down, this muscle will actually shorten. What that does is it locks in the pelvis, and if it's really tight, it's going to just compromise the results that you get. And so I'm going to go through and show you how to stretch those three different muscles that make up the hamstring group. I'm just going to use a chair. Now, in terms of the height, it really doesn't have to be that high what you use. I find a foot or a foot and a half off the ground is sufficient. A lot of people will try and get their leg up really high and try and reach over. I find that it doesn't really isolate that muscle group and really doesn't get the most out of that muscle when it comes to stretching it. So putting the foot up like this, the first thing you want to do is making sure the toe is straight up in the air, the leg is straight and the spine is straight. Essentially what you're doing is you're moving the spine down like this, and all the movement is actually taking place through the hip joint. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that straight, my spine straight, and slowly move forward. That's as far as I have to go, and I'm feeling that really pull down in that muscle through there. I'm holding that for about 30 to 40 seconds, coming back up, turning my toe out and leaning forward. I'm going to maintain that for another 30 to 40 seconds, coming back up and then turning the toe in and then doing the same motion. You may find turning the other toe out gets a little bit of that stretch. You should feel that on the inside of your leg, and then when the toe is out, you'll feel it on the outside of the leg. Now, often what I find is a lot of people will try and touch their toes or they'll bounce on the muscle group. You want to try and avoid this because what it will do is it will overstrain the muscle and it may even cause aggravation of that problem. Holding that for 30 to 40 seconds, and you can do it as much as you want throughout the day, it's going to make sure that it allows for the proper mobility and maximum flexibility through that area. The second stretch that we're going to cover is what's known as the piriformis muscle. It's a very short muscle, it's a very strong muscle, and again, when you're spending a lot of time sitting down, it's one that's going to get really, really tight. Now, touching on the anatomy before we go through the demonstration, it attaches to the side of the sacrum and runs through and attaches to the top of the what's known as the femur, and it's only about this long and it's about this round. The sciatic nerve actually goes above it, below it, or it can go through it. So when this muscle is really, really tight, what it can do is it can cause aggravation of that nerve that runs all the way down the leg. Now I'm going to do the demonstration looking at it front on, and then I'll also do it side on so you can get that. So I'm going to be stretching the right piriformis muscle in this demonstration. A simple one you can do is you can just cross your leg, keeping that square. I'm going to contact the outside of my knee, keeping my spine straight. I don't want to bend it either forward, I just want to maintain that straight up and down. I'm going to contact the outside of my knee. Now, something that's important, I'm not trying to pull it up, I'm actually trying to rock it down. And so I'm going to try and move it back towards this other hip over here. And so I'm keeping that straight, slowly pulling that in. Now, where I should be feeling that is right deep into the buttock muscle. I shouldn't be feeling it up here or in the lower back at all. It should be a very, very isolated muscle stretch. And I'm sustaining that stretch, holding my spine up straight and slowly applying a little bit more pressure through there. Now from the side, if I'm going to turn this around, doing the same thing again, stretching the right piriformis muscle. Where you should feel it is right deep in that area through here. Now there's several variations for this muscle. You can actually do it on the ground if you find it's a little bit easier. what I'm going to do, keeping this left leg down, I'm going to be stretching the right one again. I'm keeping my shoulders flat on the floor, and I'm slowly bringing this knee joint to this shoulder. The other one you can do is you can cross the leg. I'm going to reach through, contact underneath the other leg, and slowly bring this up. I want to try and keep my shoulders on the floor, keeping my spine square, and slowly bring that up. Again, I should be feeling that deep into the right side. And so this one, again, sustaining that for 30 to 40 seconds, is going to make sure you maintain that mobility and flexibility through that area.